that was thrown today.
Okay, let's get to this next case. Tech executives heading to Capitol Hill this week, starting tomorrow with the Senate Intelligence Committee, Facebook's COO Sheryl Sandberg, Twitter's CEO Jack Dorsey, and a Google executive on the hot seat before lawmakers this week. Those companies' stocks today, check out the action in them. Facebook down more than 2%. Twitter and Google also ending lower. Shares of Snap, the parent of Snapchat, touching an all-time low today. Congressman, here's the thing. We know that the Democrats need 23 seats to retake control of the House. The Cook report says 70 Republican seats are in play. We know historically that at midterm elections, the ruling party in the presidency lose seats in the House. How important is what these tech executives are, what they're going to say to Congress? How important is all of this?
I think it's very important. Most people actually look at their social media accounts and Facebook accounts, Twitter accounts, and these kind of things, and they have become the new content piece. And people have to understand that, and they need to understand that. This is no longer folks in the back of a garage making up a new product. They are the dominant technologies in content and how people disperse news and information. And the perception right now is that it's tainted. There's a perception out there that there is shadowing going on. There's a perception right now that conservatives are not allowed to get their message out, and we have shown it to be true in several places, and there's also been arguments on the other side. The question has got to come from them is do they understand what their product is? Do they understand how to correct it? And do they understand how to be a fair arbiter of the playing field, or the bulletin board, if you would, to life that they now have put out there? Mark Zuckerberg did a terrible job when he was on the Hill, basically claiming responsibility, which I commend. But then when it got to the actual workings of his company, he fell flat on his face. They need to restore confidence to the American people and to Congress that they're not out there as an umpire who are calling balls and strikes and only calling what they want to see.
Well,
that's what they need to do.
Let's talk about your point about Mark Zuckerberg, because remember when Republican Senator Ted Cruz grilled Mark Zuckerberg about Facebook's political bias? Let's watch.
33. A great many Americans who I think are deeply concerned that Facebook and other tech companies are engaged in a pervasive pattern of bias and political censorship.
I understand where that concern is coming from, because Facebook and the tech industry are located in Silicon Valley, which is an extremely left-leaning place. And this is actually a concern that I have and that I try to root out at the company, is making sure that we don't have any bias in the work that we do. And I think it is a fair concern.
Okay, the apology tour went away. When you get down to brass tacks, sir, what can Congress do to ensure there's not bias on these social platforms? Because these are privately run companies. They're in the private sector. They're publicly traded, but they're private. Can the government, can you guys really step in and regulate these guys?
Well, I think the really thing you have to look at here is what have they become as far as content and how they're dealing with it. Look, there's an issue of free speech, and everybody ought to have their ability to go say whatever they want to say. This is what the First Amendment is for. It's not for speech that you like. First Amendment is for speech that you abhor. It is for the things that you don't like. But there has to be a playing field that is fair, and this new dynamic of social media and the Facebook phenomenon, the Twitter phenomenon, has now shaped what we all used to think of traditional news media and news outlets.
So what are you guys going to do? What's the plan? What's the battle plan here? Are you going to regulate them like utilities? That's been an idea. Have the FCC come down on them? What are you going to do? I
think that's going to be a concern, and we don't need to look at it from a regulatory standpoint. I'm a small government conservative. I think you've got to look at it from a perspective of a shining light in dark places. And when we see problems, I believe the market itself will be the great disinfectant. But we've also got to show that, and just as he said, I share that same concern. I don't share the concern he has just because he lives in Silicon Valley. I share it because what we see on his platform.
Yeah, maybe another platform will be built. Congressman, thank you so much for your time, sir. Great stuff there.